21 years into the IT industry and 13 years into the financial risk as a financial consultant, started her own journey in 2013 and helping more than 2,000 families with a total sum assured of 875 crores. Shobha, what is your Kahani?
So it's all hard work. A lot of people say intellectual things like, and I've learned this. For me, everything is being consistently disciplined, doing the same thing.
How tough or difficult is it for a woman to climb up the ladder in this male-dominant society?
Whether it's a male or a female, end of the day, the person will take only if it impacts them.
Though the family has a health insurance, the hospitals did not accept those health insurances and the families had to pay huge amount of money. Why do you think this is happening? Is it because people are not understanding what is written in the insurance bond or the prerequisites?
We never thought this was something which will happen also.
Renting versus buying. So would you think it is a stupid idea for a person who's making 1 lakh going for a 1 crore property?
Immediately when you start earning, don't look at buying a property at least for 10 years.
What do you think would be the risk factors for companies in the next 5 to 10 years?
On this, you have to adopt yourself. If you don't adopt yourself, you'll become a Nokia.
How do you think the AI is going to disrupt the market?
Artificial intelligence is giving them more clarity and information. Again, it needs a manual intervention of doing the final output. You can take it as a positive and negative.
What are your thoughts on life and spirituality?
You understand yourself better. What is it you want and what you want to do?
Shobha, what is your Kahani?
I actually come from a Bachelor in Commerce and MBA in Finance. I moved into US, started working in an IT company. Came back here, I had a late baby. Didn't know what to do. We always worked all my life. I started my journey when I was 20 years old. So I've always been working. So sitting at home idly is something which I cannot do it myself. So when I started it, I was looking for investment for my own daughter. At that time, she was very young. So me and my husband have a late baby. So when I approached a lot of bankers and people who are into financial industry, I'm telling them, this is what I want to do and this is what I want to get. And what is my reason for doing it? People were not giving me a clear information. They were more into what they want to do with them, rather than focusing on myself. At the same time, I was not keen to sit at home. So I was looking for an opportunity. So there was this opportunity which came up with both. This guy was saying, anyway, you're not doing much right now. You can take this opportunity. There was a 12 days of training. That's how I started my company. Before this, I started doing a lot of research of what are the other companies I can get into, like franchisee business, things like that. My daughter was very young. This was almost 14 years ago. So she was this 1.5 years. I didn't want to spend too much of time spending working. Like when you start your own company, you have to give in 12, 15 hours. At that point in my life, I didn't want to give it. So I wanted to do something, but not take too much of my time, but not sit idly. So that's how I started my career in the financial risk, which is the life insurance part of it. And that's how my journey started with my own portfolio investments for my daughter. And I, of course, have spread out so many other things on. And that's how my career has started up. So what I basically do is, I want to build a good team of people. There are a lot of financial advisors, but how many of them are doing the right thing for their customers?
Yeah.
So that's where the journey we are looking at. We are not looking to here to pitch in for people to take it. We kind of sit with them, analyze it, what their needs are, requirements are. And then based on that, we move forward from there, based on the customer's requirements.
All right. Got it for me. So this is something that you are doing or the world knows. So we want to know the raw Kahani that made you what you are today.
One thing which I have been always doing even when I was studying, though I've done a bachelor's and MBA in finance, my core has always been a sports. In sports, you need a lot of discipline and consistency. So I was always being like that. A child who was very independent.
Okay.
Do what I want to do. Nobody can stop me. Even my parents, my spouse, or, I will do it. Just let me do my own way of doing things. So that's how I've always done my things. And I had the freedom at my parents' place, and of course at my husband's place also. So I do whatever I feel I need to get it done. So there's no interference from any one of them. So it's all hard work. A lot of people say intellectual things like, I've done this. For me, everything is being consistently disciplined, doing the same thing, has given me a lot more results. That's how I start.
Super, super. So you spoke about some of the sports. So what sport did you?
I used to play athletics. I won the state in Karnataka. That's where I was born and brought up in.
Okay.
I've also been part of other games like volleyball was one of them. I was a state player. I was a captain also.
Okay.
But in my generation, fortunately or unfortunately, the focus was not there so much on sports. So if you choose a career there, you can't really succeed, after the next generation, things have changed. So I was like, after I finished my bachelor in commerce, I was still continuing my sports part of it, doing 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours of training, vigorous training for the states. A lot of people who are in sports, they understand,
Absolutely.
you have to get up by 4:30, be at the ground and do things and do cross-country running, things like that. So I realized, if I need to be financially successful on my own, my parents were doing very well, but what do I achieve by myself? So I changed my thinking and said, sports will not give me that kind of financial freedom also. Though I might be passionate about it, but it's not something which will give me financial freedom so much.
Correct.
So at the most, you can go and take a positions in government job, but that was not something which I was very keen on that point. So I told my father I want to do an MBA finance, and I started doing that course, and then I moved into US and I saw a lot of opportunity more, and I moved into IT technology part of it. So that's how I started my career.
Love you. So were you a rebel from childhood?
I wouldn't say a rebel per se, but more clear of I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. I had my clear thoughts of what I want to achieve. And I wanted to be in my space. My mother used to always say, you are the only one who is like, doesn't want to listen in the sense like do what you want to do and be in your corner. You are not very, how do I say it, open up easily with things, But you were like on your own, So that's how it was.
Super, super. So you said you've been a lot of years in US. So how was it in the US?
US, one thing has helped me out, a planning part of it. And then executions. Everything you have to plan for it. It cannot happen instantaneously.
Absolutely.
So I've worked in here also in Bangalore, in Kotak Mahindra. I have not discussed with this lot of people. There also, there was a little bit of planning. But when you start working in US, what happens, there is no per se, even though you start at the lower... I was an IT developer and then start from scratch and then put up the ladder. So they'll tell you this is the project and this is what you have to do. So they let you to kind of do your own timelines of when you have to give it out, a timeline, and what is your deadline. It's a self-enforced. They don't push you on. They give you as an overall picture of it, and then you're accountable to it. And then you plan ahead of time. So those are the parameters I've learned well in US part of it. And another thing which I found it in US, which you probably may not have it, a lot of people work hard, but you don't see results happening for a lot of people there. But I found US to be a land of opportunity. You really work hard, you really see the results output coming out that big. So that's one thing I think is what has given me US. US again has given me, especially New York City, where I have worked a lot of downtown Manhattan, and of course New Jersey and New York also. Is like, the liberty to do things and there is no stop. Sky is the limit. You can do whatever you want to do. There is no stopping. There is nobody to judge you or, say you can't do this, things like that. Though my parents have always opened up and not push me to not do things and do whatever I have to do. That freedom was always there. Same with my husband also. He's never stopped at anything. So whatever I want to achieve, I could achieve without any kind of obstacles with it.
Super. So that's a very supportive family you had.
Right. And I think in a way, I kind of come with that aura also that I will not take it. So there is no other option also. The byproduct is, my parents were, my mother is little conservative, but she also understands where I am coming from. She's seen how I worked hard. So over a period of time, she started realizing that, and she just gave me the freedom. So when I was married to Nagesh, he already knows, and his personality is such that he'll give you all the liberty to do things what you want to do. So that's a plus for me.
Super. Got it. So we've talked about US. So how is it? How are the things in India?
Little different, I had my own challenges when I started here as being on my own, little you kind of deal with, in US it's more a corporate companies, multinational companies, and they have certain way of communicating things. Here, the communication is little different. And being as a business owner, you speak to different levels of people. Not everybody comes from a corporate background. Some come from a family business, small, don't have an exposure of things. They don't know how to express. They don't know how to speak on. So you kind of analyze it. It took me a little while to understand those challenges, but it has been a journey in that. And I'm still learning part of it, but over a period of time, I've tried to understand it, how to break in with that part of it.
Super. Coming to the business ka Kahani. So you started your own firm in 2013. If you can talk something about it.
So as I was saying, I wanted to do an investment for my own daughter. That's how I started it up, and investing it wherever I found the need for myself or my daughter, I've taken up the plan. So the idea is not to just do it for yourself, correlate with other people, especially people who have taken a career breaks. They never come back. They don't have an opportunity. They have constraint about time. They have a young child. They've taken a career break. They don't know how to restart. Yeah. But if you have to start a business on your own, you need a lot of capital investments. So what we kind of are working on is, you have an attitude of learning. You want to start, we'll do the mentoring, and then we'll take you to the whole journey part of it. And then normally we tie up with a lot of wealth managers, wealth managers like who deal in mutual funds, equities, and people who are into the insurance segments. We tie up with them and work on the financial risk part.
Absolutely. Got it. So that's a very lovely thing. And what would your suggestion be for anyone coming into your field? How should they start?
Come with an open mind. What we say is, here is, you don't need to come with a specific background. As long as your intention is to learn, leave the ego part of it and willing to learn. It's open for everybody. And then doing it consistently, discipline is where you see the results coming out. It's with any of the business you deal with it.
Yeah.
So being consistently working on it will help you out. So in this field specifically, I feel women are doing much better because of the discipline and consistency part of it.
Okay.
They've taken it to the next level, So people who come in, just come with, I'll learn every day. Yeah. That's an attitude you have to come with. That's about it.
Absolutely. Super. So Shobha, what is it to be a financial risk consultant?
So financial risk is basically one is for yourself. If you are a financial earner and you have contributing to the families, so anything happens to you, your family will suffer for it. So what are the things you have planned for your family in that parameters? Have you safeguarded them, the loved ones? What happens to them? So whatever your income you earn in future, the safeguard you've done. A lot of people say, I have done investment and so on, but properties, or it could be any kind of thing. Can you liquidate that? So what we kind of do is, a financial risk is a life insurance. In case of eventuality, that money will go to normally the family, and they can sustain this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's what we kind of advise people on. The same thing applies for the business also. If you are the key person of the organization, who could be a partner, directors of the companies, if you are not there, what happens to the company?
Yeah.
There will be a financial crunch part of it during that time. So this will kind of help you to achieve that goal of it.
Got it. So Shobha, how important is risk management more than profit making for these companies?
So to kind of look at it, what is profit? Profit is whatever you earn the turnovers you make, and then profit is for the company. And then again, the private limited or a partnership, they take a share of it, or whatever business you do. In the financial risk, what happens, what are we looking at is, anything happens to the person, what happens to the family they support in case of their eventuality, they're passing away. How is that being covered up? The same thing comes up into the case of the company on. So what happens if the main key person of the organization is not there? What happens, we have seen in around ourselves itself, the company kind of gets closed up. So both of them are very vital for them to be taken care of. Financial risk is something which you need to do from the day one itself. Profit, day one you start a company may not happen. Maybe it has its own journey part of it. Maybe some very few businesses have it. Financial risk, even before you start looking at the profit, you need to look at the financial risk of it, whether for an individual or for a company part of it.
Got it. Got it. Can you walk us through the steps you go through while assessing for a client?
So let us take the basic example. Let us do it the very young person. Young person who's 35 years. We sit and find out with them what is their income. Income in the sense like the gross income, not the net income.
Yeah.
So we'll also see what their income expenses ratios are.
Okay.
And then give them a solutions, like what should be their coverage.
Okay.
If it is, let us say an example of a 35 years old, he's earning a 10 lakhs per annum.
Okay.
What should be his financial exposure or financial risk protection he has to take? So we normal rule of thumb is 20 times. Okay. So rule of 12 of that 20 times will come up to 2 CR.
Okay.
And we advise normally to take for the age of up to 70. So that's the basic math is looking at his financial eligibility. And we also advise them to start early because of the health part of it. Though you might be financially eligible, the company may not accept it if you are medically not fit. Okay. There are other risk factors companies will look at it. So, and also if you start early, the premiums what you pay up will come out very less. So these are the parameters we look at it. Basically, it's financial health, what is already done, where the gap is, and then give them a solutions part of it.
Yep.
And with an example which I was sharing with you, 2 crores is 10 lakhs, 20 times of these 2 crores. So they'll end up paying 32,000 per annum for next 35 years. If the coverage is up to 70 years, per day they'll be paying around 89 rupees per day. So that's what the cost will be. And this is the steps we kind of explain to them. Okay. And then if they have any other things, when we have a conversation and we'll look at it like, and then give them a solution. But on an overall average, this is what we look at.
Should. Got it. While we were having a discussion, you said like you are kind of helping few families and some of the women who found it tough in the market. So if you could elaborate it.
So what happens especially in an Indian segments, women are very hesitant to come out and speak out. In a business, if it's an employment, it's a little different. You're in a structured organization. People will tell you, this is what the project is, this is not what you need to do. When it comes to business, you have to go out and present yourself, reach out to people. So not many women are willing to come forward for it. So what we have done is, giving them an opportunity, especially people who have never worked or taken a career break, or they had a child, they want to come back, and maybe they've never worked in their life, but now their kids are all grown up. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So we kind of come in and help them, entire meaning like, give them the training, mentor them, help them to do calls with how do you prospect, how do you do a presentation. We walk them through the entire process of it. In fact, when I hire people in my own organizations, see, whatever salary I give them, it's never going to be enough because how much can I increase?
Absolutely.
It could be only certain percentage. So I encourage them to take an ownership, and then eventually you become your own entrepreneur journey. So I had one person like this, so came on board with me. She had done her bachelor degree, and then I was surprised like they couldn't find job anywhere. I said, you start working, and she also came with a mindset like, I have to go to the training. I'm like, okay, as long as you work this many hours, 9:30 to 5, I'm okay with that. When you finish your work, you want to go to the training, I gave her the liberty to do whatever training she wants to do it. And then over a period of time, 2-3 years, she worked with me, and she started doing her own entrepreneur journey, like similar line of what I've done.
Yeah.
She's done very well. And then, in fact, in the process of this, she lost her father. So some part of her own wedding expenses, she only contribute. Her, of course, her brothers and family were there. It's part of it. Now she's moved to another country, doing very well there. So this is one example. So we see a lot of women, who are very hesitant. So because even to go on to meet people, how do I do this? It's always a block in their mind. So we help them in the entire journey. And I go for their calls also. That's how we help them on. Apart from women's, we have others also on the team also. But women are more, what I feel is, see this business here, you might see an income or net income coming to you immediately, but sometimes there'll be low times. For men, probably they might feel it with little constraint, but if they stick on longer, they may see a revenue. And women do very well because consistency, the discipline is there. Once you start seeing it, and get the knack of it, and they're in the good flow of it.
Absolutely.
That's how we... And I'm looking for women who are willing to, given their time, willing to learn. We definitely will help them in whatever more we can do it. So eventually when they come, some of them we take them as a salary base, then push them into net incentive base. And then over a period of time, getting yourself independent as an independent person to work on.
Got it. Super. So how tough or difficult is it for a woman to climb up the ladder in this male-dominant society?
Yeah, I think it's a myth, I feel, in our own perception, because we are into business. And whether it's a male or a female, end of the day, the person will take only if it impacts them.
Yes.
It's not about thousands we're talking about, few lakhs, things like that. Only if you can show them the need, a person will take it up.
Yeah.
So in this specific industry, which is life insurance, the women have done much better than men. That's what the success rates have been, and they're doing very well. So the block per se, I don't see it. But only thing is, you go and meet persons in their offices, sometimes they're resident. So some people may not feel comfortable with it, but we train them. They don't go alone. We have myself, managers, and somebody else accompanying them. And people who we go and meet also are known people. It's not like an unknown attorney part of it. So I don't think there is any kind of blockage for women as long as you're focused and you know what your requirements are and you focus on that part of it. I think it's an win situation for women. I don't see any constraints there.
And why do you think men are lacking behind?
Well, I think the immediate of earning the income immediately, overnight journey. So things like that may happen one or few cases, but on a consistent way, it is not the case. So women have more patience, I feel. And if you see generally also, even from generation together, women have done very well. Even our grandparents, in case of men, they have financial difficulty. The first thing they go to is for the mother or grandparents. They've done it very well. So that way, I think that inbuilt is always been the case. So in the finance part of it, they do very well. In fact, if in that house also, I've seen a lot of, even in US and even here also, if person in the household, a person is given the liberty to do the financial planning, they'll do most of the instances very well. But I don't think so in our systems that freedom is there. So what happens, women will go and start spending on
jewelry and shopping.
And some emotional indifferences they feel, then we immediately go on a shopping sphere or go for a traveling, things like that happens. But I think women do very well in this industry, and especially in the household and in the career part of it also. You just have to give them a proper training and guidance. If that has been given up, then take it to the next level. That's why.
Lovely. So coming to the same point, so if you were asked to give some advice to these young women out there, what would you suggest them on the financial aspects?
So what I would suggest is, it doesn't matter what is your education background. As long as you can read, if you're not able to read, there's so many podcasts which you get online free of cost. Just go through them regularly. They have lot of different information. And then you summarize yourself and see how you could utilize this part of it. Write down in a book.
Correct.
Have a clarity what you need, why you need it, and how you can achieve it, and when you need it.
Yeah.
So if you have that clarity of information for yourself, I think you're set for life. First thing you need to clarity, how much you need.
Yeah.
So just go through it, and there are a lot of people, there are a lot of opportunity. Unlike when we started earlier, we didn't have this kind of guidance. We have to either go to our parents or some mentors. Sometimes they might be expert, they may not be mentors. Maybe that's the correct way of looking at it.
Yeah.
But now things have changed. You have to evolve yourself to see what is the things happening in the market. And then just be observant of it. The amount of time you spend on any of the shopping, if you could spare on a daily basis an hour or 2 hours to review of them, doesn't matter. You don't have to coming from a finance background, the basic knowledge of it.
Yeah.
And also when you see normally here what I've seen in the family structure, very few ladies take in charge of it. Sometimes men don't want to give, or vice versa. Ladies also don't want to take responsibility. But it's good somebody is taking care of it, but at least understanding what you have, what you don't have is very important. Don't be under notion like whatever my parents have done, whatever my spouse have done, whatever my brother has done is the best thing. Sit and write down and say, is this what you have signed up for? If not, talk to them, have a conversation, have an open information with them will help you to see where you want to go in your life,
Absolutely.
So that's the way to be looked up at.
Super. So that's a very, the really good insights, because it's very important for all the women out there to learn to have financial knowledge, because right now it's all the numbers game. No matter how much you make money, at the end of the day, you're going to end up spending all the money. So it is important to have a financial plan. How much do you spend for your home, for your personal well-being and everything, and how much do you invest? So on that aspect, can you give some suggestions on how to get into mutual funds or stocks, something?
Right. So, ours is mainly on the financial risk part of it, but on an overall view, what I would tell people is, look first, what is your source of income? Where are the various venues of income you're coming from? Write in an Excel file all of them, and then see what your expenses are, every one of them. And your expense ratios, each one of them, categorize it as an expenses which is absolutely required or something which you want. Want is more I would like to have, but not a necessity.
Yeah.
The need is something which you need for basically for your housing, for your food, your shelter, things like that. The wants are basically travel. I want to buy probably a car. All this you can plan ahead of time. Let us say you're earning, 100 rupees. In that, keep at least 30 rupees for your savings.
Yeah.
Rest you can allocate for your necessity and whatever expenses you need. If you plan this month on month, what you can do is, start an Excel file, write those numbers, how much you're putting that 30 rupees over a period of time. Then increase it every year, 10% of it. For example, if you're doing 30 rupees every month, next year you increase that to 10% of it, which will come to 33.
Yeah.
You do on incremental every year because your income also will keep going up. Exactly. So if you plan it that way, it will help you out. And also expenses now, we are not doing any cash payment. Everybody is used to your UPI. Online transaction. Yeah. So you have a record of what all you're spending on. Write down all of those. See, is this what you really want to do? Start analyzing it. If you do this for 12 months religiously, consistently, you will start doing a self-analysis. Is this really required? Is this what I want to spend? And then have an aim of what you want to achieve when. A lot of people whom, especially IIM, whether it could be a business or employees, it's not a permanent thing.
No.
It's good to start, but is that a permanent thing? No. The stress which you go through it with this process of earning money
Yeah.
will give you a little bit of discomfort. So whatever income you have, let us say you're earning 100 rupees in a yearly, if you keep this at least 1 month of that income as put it aside, if you start doing it for 10, 15 years, that itself will give you a passive income. You would not have a stress of, looking at your business or your employment as a source of income. The other source of this passive income will be a self-reliance, which you can do an investment in any of the portfolios. If you understand probably equity, you can start with. But if people are starting newly, I will tell them not to start with equity, start with ULIP, mutual funds. Just get used to the source of investment, what it gets you in 5-10 years. Then slowly understand how it works and then move into the equity part of it.
Absolutely. Perfect. Well, really well explained. So it all comes down to we all have limited amount. How well we manage those finances is all that matters.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, what I see, especially the younger people, the first thing when they start earning, they spend a lot of gadgets or start buying a house, real estate, and month on month it becomes an EMI burden to them. So don't get in the cycle of the EMI. Look at more about how put in more investments in you, upscaling yourself into trainings where it will give you more knowledge based on how to increase your income. Over a period of time, focus more on where my revenue should come in and gradually spend them. Especially properties, I would say not to buy immediately. Save at least 30 to 40% of your income for your down payment and then start buying it. Otherwise, you go into a circle of paying EMI and you're stuck for 20, 25 years just paying those EMIs and you don't have the freedom to do what you need to do.
Yeah, and if something happens in the middle, it's a very big burden for the whole family.
Absolutely. And we have seen a lot of places, to just pay your EMI, again, you're not able to do it. You will borrow again your credit card. And that goes in a cycle of, paying one after another. So it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah. And coming to the point of credit cards, you think how, good are they? I mean, are Indians using them to the full extent or are they using it for their own financial downfall?
So I think it's the same in Western world or here also. You need to be smart. Credit card is basically saying, the way it used to be used is, that money I haven't, I'm using credit card because I want to earn points out of it. If you have that mindset, go with it. But let us say you don't have that money, don't go for credit card. Because what happens, the interest they charge you is minimum of 24%, which you will not be getting returns in any of the businesses or any of the investments in which you will be doing it. So it doesn't make sense. What you don't have, don't spend it. So a lot of people don't have that control of. The credit card gives you a freedom of buying something which you don't have it now.
Yeah.
So people start buying it and then accumulating over a period of time. So you're in a circle. You'll never get out of it. So that's where you start finding the difficulties of, the financial part of it.
Yeah.
So I would suggest 90% of the people are in this kind of scenarios not to go for it. Do it only if you're looking to accumulate points on it.
Super. Perfect. So that's what, currently the situation is like the youth, they have this card, they swipe it, they use the money, which they don't have, and then they pay more money to clear it.
And borrow again with the friends to repay this credit card because the guy is constantly following it up, calling it up.
Yeah.
So go in the cycle of, doing that. Don't get into that trap of.
Absolutely. They're like kind of falling into that dangerous debt cycle.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So recently we've seen in COVID that though the family has a health insurance, the hospitals did not accept those health insurances and the families had to pay huge amount of money. Why do you think this is happening? Is it because people are not understanding what is written in the insurance bond or the prerequisites?
Right. So what pandemic has taught all of us a big lesson to each one of us. So pandemic is something none of us are prepared for it. It's a big shock for the entire world, for ourselves also, that we are all isolated. And we never thought this was something which will happen also. So what happened, even the people who are giving the insurance part, but they're also not prepared for it. So left and right, you saw even a healthy young people also falling sick, including the old people. Too many people rushing to the hospital. So it was little chaos in the beginning. To set these things right, it took a little longer. And through that process, we have learned a lot that we need to have a health insurance. Now, how much do you need it? It depends on your lifestyle. And also, if your family has any kind of conditions of, some kind of health issues. If it is the case, obviously you have to look in depth of it. Every family, whether you are a business owner or an employee, or you don't have a business, you still need to have a health insurance. It's become very expensive. Overnight, no amount of liquid money will kind of help you to overcome it. So having a health insurance is absolutely essential. Now, how much do you need it? Bare minimum, at least 20 lakhs of sum assured is what you need. A lot of insurance companies which are also advising on the riders which comes into the play. You have to like cancer and things like that, because we have seen a lot of those. But if you have to take a look at it, you would don't only if your heredity says that you are prone to that, then you take but always look at basic of 20 lakhs. Now, a lot of people will say the organization they work with, they're providing. But are you married to that specific organization? It's not the case. You're not married to that organization. You probably will move or take a break, start your own company. But when you start early on, parallelly with what the company gives, with your own private one for yourself and your family, it's a more viable way to do it, because insurance companies also look at preconditions like they don't cover for at least 3 years. So taking in early makes it much beneficial. Also, if you start early, premiums will be little nominal, and then they'll keep, if you have not claimed for it, they'll keep adding to it.
Okay.
So as your lifestyles keep changing it, and depending on what your lifestyle is, keep increasing it. 20 lakhs is not a continuous running. You have to be increasing it all.
Yeah.
And some people will have 50 to 1 crore also.
Correct.
So that's where it is. In pandemic, a lot of people were not being able to get the full coverage what they need.
Yeah.
So when you go into this part of an agreement, you have to understand, read through the documents. If you're not able to read through the documents, take an advice of the person whom you can trust with.
Okay.
So get the summary with them. What are the things which is covered? What are the things which is not covered? Be prepared for it. Let it not be a surprise or a shock to you that this is not there. At least have the fundamental things, what you have, what you don't have. Write down all this in an Excel file and share it with your family. It's not secretive. Sharing with your family is very important. That's one thing which you have to do.
Got it. Super. So, in the same aspect, hospitals and insurance agencies are kind of scamming people. So, in this aspect, when we have an insurance and then still we have to go and pay some extra amount, though we have an insurance, what do you think? Why should a person pay an extra amount?
So, this is the parameters, based on what policies you are taking in. Sometimes what happens, if you need 100% of coverage, your premiums will slightly be higher. So when you're not, if you have an experience priorly, you understand this, but you're a new person, you basically will start taking off, which is low premium for you. So you kind of compromise on that. So that's why when you take an insurance, you have to sit and understand, is there any amount which you have to do a co-payment? Am I covered 100%? And what are the things which is covered? So having that in black and white will help you to have this problem resolved it.
Right.
And then move from there. Some people don't want to pay high premium, so they do a co-payment. So there'll be a percentage. And there's a certain part of it which is an extreme, let us say, surgery which to be done, which is little complex, which is not covered in the basic sum. So you'll end up paying on that, maybe a percentage of it. So though it might look tedious to you, the spending that 2-3 hours of your time on this is definitely worth your time to analyze it.
So while we were discussing about renting versus buying, So, would you think it is a stupid idea for a person who's making 1 lakh per year going for a 1 crore property?
So, if you are earning 1 lakh and you're buying 1 lakh per month, which is 12 lakhs per annum,
Yeah.
and if you're buying for a 1 crore, if you look at technical part of it, that will come to almost 1 lakh of, if you're not paying any down payment, 1 lakh will go into EMI itself. Where is your other expenses? So what happens? You don't have that down payment. What happens? You take from your credit card some amount which you have to do a down payment. You borrow from your people whom you know. It could be your family. And then what happens? You are too much committed into that. And home loans EMIs are not as short-term ones. Normally they vary from 15 to 20
Very
years.
easy, yeah.
You're stuck with that. So is your life just to have a house? So what normally when we look at it, what we say is, don't start with loan part of it. Whatever money, let us say you are having 1 lakh of it.
Correct.
In the previous discussion we had, at least 30% of it, start saving in. Saving in, accumulate that money, at least to contribute 30 to 40% of your investment which you want to buy a house, which is 1 crore is almost like 30 to 40 lakhs. And then look at the balance you need to pay it. Immediately when you start earning, don't look at buying a property, at least for 10 years at least. After that, it's basically an emotional attachment. If you look at the viability of investment portfolios,
Yeah.
if you look at an Indian average returns, what you get in properties is an average of between 10%, not immediate 5. Some of them would multiply it in a very few cases in a short-term period. What I'm saying is an average of 10, 15, 20 years. Returns is almost in Indian market is around 9 or to 10%. So that's what. But does it mean that you should not own a house? Yes, of course you have to own a house, but plan for it when you think you will be there for a very long period of time. So when you start a career, you don't want to be in one specific place. You are not sure whether you will be in this place in your company. You may want to explore other places, other areas. So if you buy this property, what happens? You're stuck with your EMI.
Yeah.
And rental yield, what you get is around in India is 3 to 3.5%.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even cover up your EMI. So again, you go in the circle of it.
Correct.
So don't be stuck with that. Do a deep analysis. Why do I need this? Will I be in this place for another 10 to 15 years? In that specific area, in that specific building, and then start making those decisions. Especially, it will be more viable if you when you really want to buy it, you buy it, you get married, you have a child, you've seen the schooling, everything, you're comfortable. At least for 10, 15 years, you will not be moving in.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a point to be looked at it. But generate a liquid money for yourself. Don't put it in a fixed asset immediately, and then generate a liquid money,
Yeah.
save enough, and then slowly, gradually move towards the buying a house.
Perfect. So, got it. So, what do you think would be the risk factors for companies in the next 5 to 10 years?
Risk part of it for the companies, the risk is part of any businesses. There is no straight lines. There always will be ups and downs curves, irrespective of businesses or which business categories you're into it. So you have to be prepared for it. It's part of you being in that business.
Right.
So if you are in a business part of it, you have to learn the new technologies. What are the changes which has been happening? Adopt to it. Now, artificial intelligence, you have digital marketing. On this, you have to adopt yourself. If you don't adopt yourself, you'll become a Nokia. Not accepting the change. That's one thing you have to be prepared for it. You might be a small business owner, you may be medium or a corporate companies. Adopting technology is something which all of us should be learning. See, in earlier days, very, very earlier days, people used to say like, once you learn, have your business, it's permanent. We didn't have this fast pace of technology. Now we are in the way. Every second, every minute, every day, there's new technology which has been developed. We don't adopt into that field, we are out of business. So artificial intelligence is one thing which we all have to learn and incorporate those technology into our business.
Yeah. Perfect, perfect. And coming to the point of artificial intelligence, how do you think AI is going to disrupt the market?
So artificial intelligence, as it's a product. Now, how do we use it is left to us. It won't disrupt in the sense like, maybe what people were doing it physically or manually, that will replace to an extent, more major part of it.
Yeah.
But we can use that as a tool also. So what you need to use it is, what are the areas which will make you to do better, faster.
Correct.
In our daily basis, there's certain things needed lot of presentations. For example, let it be a PPT, PowerPoint presentations or content writing. It took us so long to finish it. So maybe we get a little summary of it now. But is that the final product? No. So we have to again go into what we are looking for in our industries, tweak it a little bit, add little numbers, and then customize it and then do it. It will probably not give you the ultimate result, but it will give you the basic structure to start with it. In the same way, in various fields, it is good to use it. In technology-wise, what I was told by a lot of doctors also in their operation also, which they can't see it. This artificial intelligence is giving them more clarity and information. Again, it needs a manual intervention of doing the final output. So in a way, if we can use it more positively, I think that's a better way to look at it. But if you give it 100% on its own, it may not give us the good answers on it. So it's working combination of it, using some part of it, what makes sense, eliminating them, and then whatever needed to be added, and then make use of it. And that way, I think if we can look at that part of it, and all of us have to adopt it. If we don't adopt it, we'll be out of business.
Yeah.
Whether it is a small, medium, or large scale, we use technology, artificial, directly or indirectly. If we don't adopt to these changes, we'll be out of our business, like how various other technology, which happened with Nokia, not adopting technology. It happens to multinational companies also. So we have to see in our industry where we are, how we can incorporate it, and then make maximum use of it. That's the way I have to look at it. And I think all it's positive only. Just it needs little learning curve for it. Just spend your time, energy, and money on learning that part of it.
Absolutely.
So that's the way to look at it.
So yeah, we could just give an example. Like few centuries ago, we just used to write on a paper, and then we had typewriters, and then we have the computers, and now we have the AI. So every time we have something called as a disruption or a new technology in the market, it is very important that we have to upskill and make sure we learn how to use it effectively.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're not there, you're out of business. Without even you thinking, in a second, somebody else will overrule you.
Yeah.
So that's the way to look at it. And it's a growth part of it.
Correct.
And
Exactly. Super. Shobha, coming to like life and spirituality, what are your thoughts on life and spirituality?
so when we were children, we were let to play freely. So if I have to go to any spiritual, in my generation at least, people don't say, Nick, you got time, you have time, you don't have to do it now. But over a period of time, what I've realized is, spiritual is part of your life.
Correct.
A lot of people feel, especially parents, if you are into spiritual journey, it's the wrong notion that you live the family. It is not the case.
Yeah.
Spiritual journey is something basically, from what I understand with my journey, is you understand yourself better. What is it you want and what you want to do with yourself, and have clarity of information. So if you go to a lot of, could be a temple or could be any of the classes which you attend, you make that as your daily practice, or even giving it to an organization, giving it out. All this habit should built in when you are a child itself. You don't have to do when you're older. But our generation previous has been taught like you have to be certain age to do this. Not necessarily. I think that's part and part of your everyday learning. And as a parents, if we can do this with our children in the early age itself, it's a very good thing. It's just getting a clarity. Clarity gives you a lot of information. Why you need to do certain things and what is the purpose of it. What am I going to achieve with it? And it directly will benefit you and also contribute to the society also. So it's a part and parcel. I think everybody has to go through it. And it has nothing to do with a specific religion per se. And I think every part of it in their own way are teaching the same thing. First, understand yourself and then move from there,
Absolutely.
So you have this clarity at an early age, it'll be better off. It'll be better off. You don't have to be old to do these things. And in this phase of, traveling has helped me a lot.
Okay.
I do a lot of traveling. Traveling is something, you are in the same place, you meet the same people, the same thing circulates, but you go to a new environment, you see a new energy there, new pace, new way of looking at life, learn from another person, see their perspectives, then come back with a lot of other fresh air. So that's one thing which also could be spiritual, if you go to any of the Indian temples, you don't need to learn a lot of them. Just sit in the water. For example, it could be Varanasi. You just walk on Ganga river water, this stretch to that stretch. You will see the jet energy, the wind falling to your place. That itself will change the way you think of life, your things. It will just cool off things, So it is parts and parcel of my life.
Super, super. I was so amazing. And finally, what's your call for the youth of this nation?
See, in early days, especially parents used to dominate and say, this is what you need to do. Things have changed now. We are more want to hear what they want to do, giving them the freedom to do things. You have a lot of freedoms now, most of the case. I wouldn't say every one of them. Choose what you want to do it, but have a clarity of why you want to do it and what is the purpose. Just don't do it for the purpose of money. Money should be a byproduct. How are you going to impact other life? Even if you can impact handful of them, it could be 1 or 10. That's at least 1% or 2% should say you have changed something. What I look at it, if you can look at that part of it, and do whatever you need to do, I think that's the way to look at it.
Absolutely, absolutely. There was some really great, insightful conversation that we had. Thank you, Shobha.
Thank you so much for your time. Also, interesting conversation with you once.
Hi. Thanks a lot.
You've all seen Shobha's Kahani. I hope you loved it. If you guys also want to talk and share about your Kahani, please do come to Kahani House. Signing off, yours, Harsha Reddy.